Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at a moment that went extremely viral on social media here in the United States. It's caused not that much controversy actually. A pretty good portion of people who've seen this video have thankfully defended the kid in this situation. Me personally, I also can only really defend the kid in this situation. I mean, the kid, like, he very clearly did really nothing wrong here. I mean, it's kind of sad that we've gotten to this point in American society where not only is it, like a thought crime to express yourself and to actually use your First Amendment rights, but also that we've gotten to a point in America that people in the education system are so incompetent and are so unaware of the history of the country that's allowed them to fucking exist in the first place that they don't even recognize the Gadsden flag. Now, for those of you who don't know, because obviously I don't expect everybody to immediately know what I'm talking about when I say the Gadsden flag. Now, if you live in the United States, you probably know what it is, even if you don't know it by the name the Gadsden flag, but it's more commonly known as the Don't Tread on Me flag, and it has been a symbol of American freedom and individualism and liberty for literally centuries. I mean, this flag has its roots in the Revolutionary War history of the United States. So, unfortunately though, a few days ago, a kid in Colorado was harassed by school officials for wearing a patch of this flag on his backpack. Apparently it was deemed offensive, and now people, a very certain small, I would say vocal minority of people online have defended the school's actions by saying that this flag is racist, this flag is offensive, this flag shouldn't be flown. I mean, look at the types of people who'd fly it. It was flown on January 6th. Oh my god, 1% of the people who fly the flag may be bad people, so you can't fly it anymore. But obviously this mentality is fucking ridiculous. The Gadsden flag is not offensive. If anything, the Gadsden flag is one of the most symbolic historical representations of freedom that the world has literally ever fucking seen. I mean, people still fly this flag to this day on their cars, on their properties. There's like 15 states in the union that allow you to get "Don't Tread on Me" license plates for your car. That is how ingrained into American society the Gadsden flag is. And me personally, this is one of my favorite flags of all time. Not just because of the history, but because of the message that it continues to hold to most people to this day. I mean, even in modern day society, right? I mean, in modern day America, we still have to feel as if the government, as if the people who are supposed to protect us are treading on our individual rights and our individual liberties. I mean, it's depressing. It's sad. The founding fathers would be rolling in their graves if they saw some of the shit that happens in modern society. But I'm gonna go ahead and play the video for you guys. This is the video, I guess, of the faculty at the school confronting the kid for having the Gadsden flag patch on his backpack, and let's go ahead and see what they have to say.
Oh, thank you. Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical flag?
So the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed, is due to its origins with
the
slavery and slave trade.
Alright, so they don't want the flag flown due to its quote-unquote origins in slavery and the slave trade, which, if you know anything about the history of the Gadsden flag, it's not based in slavery or the slave trade. Now, yes, it did originate from a time in America where slavery was legal and Gadsden himself was a slave owner, but you have to consider most people in American society who were of any prominence at that point in time were fucking slave owners. I mean, the founding fathers themselves owned slaves. Virtually every notable American between, 1770, and like 1864 were slave owners. So by that definition there, we gotta take down Mount Rushmore. We gotta take the founding fathers out of our history completely. The painting of Washington crossing the Delaware should be burned and just burned. I mean, why would we ever want something like that? The first time the Don't Tread on Me flag was flown was aboard the USS Alfred in December of 1775 during the American Revolution at that point, right? It was designed by Christopher Gadsden. He was a South Carolina delegate to the Continental Congress. He was also a general in the Continental Army. He used it aboard the ship that he personally was basically on, and that was, of course, the USS Alfred. So it then became a symbol of unity for the 13 colonies at the start of the war, and ever since then has remained a political symbol in America. Benjamin Franklin even used it for his join or die woodcut in 1754, and the intention of the flag was a warning to Britain to not violate the liberties of the American subjects in the colonies. And to this day, it is the most common symbol in America of anti-government expression and essentially basically saying, as the government continues to impede on our rights, we must stand for ourselves. It has nothing, it's not about, oh, don't take my rights away as being a slave owner or anything like that. Now, sure, people did eventually end up using it that way, especially during the Confederacy, during the Civil War. And some people did take the flag and try to repurpose its meaning, but no one has ever really historically associated it with any of that shit, because that's not ever what it was intended for, and those people were a very small minority of people using the flag historically. So
that is what was, that's the reasoning behind the no,
The Gadsden flag.
the don't tread on me.
Okay. Which is the Gadsden flag. Okay, so he's what's going to happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class. Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back if it's got the patch on it, because we can't have that in and around other kids. So that's what I was trying to, and then he said you were close. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like, that wasn't, that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate Confederate flag.
Okay, I am
Is there
just
history
here
that you
to
can
enforce.
tell me?
No, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district.
it shouldn't even have to go to the point that the ACLU said he's allowed to. The First Amendment you literally have the right to self-expression, you have the right to free speech. These are fundamentally protected liberties in our country. This kid should have every single fucking right under the Constitution to have a Gadsden flag on his backpack. And we know from several Supreme Court rulings that your constitutional rights do not end the moment you walk into school, and they don't stop because you're a child. This kid is an American, and he deserves to have those rights. The Gadsden flag, it's funny because the person who's sitting in the video, the school faculty, it's a fucking shame that in modern American society, the people educating your kids aren't even aware of what one of the most symbolic pieces of American history means. The people educating the children in our country aren't even aware of one of the first symbolic American flags. How the fuck is that? How does that even make sense? And I guess, we have to enforce the policies of the school district. So the school district has issued an outright ban on all patches, because I really don't believe that's the case. Now, I hate to be that fucking guy, but I really have to imagine that if a kid walked into school with a pride flag patch on his backpack, the school would not be saying a fucking thing about that. And in my opinion, they shouldn't. If a kid wants to have a pride flag patch on his backpack, he should be allowed to. If a kid wants to have a Gadsden flag patch on his backpack, he should be allowed to. If he wants to have an American flag patch on his backpack, he should be allowed to. Once again, your First Amendment rights should not stop the moment you walk into fucking school. That is ridiculous to assume. And for a school district to try and enforce this for really no reason whatsoever is draconian, to say the least.
And definitely you have every right to not agree with it.
Because the
absolutely.
ACLU says that he's allowed to wear that. If you go on their website, it's says in big letters.
All I'm saying is that
unless there's a ban on patches, period. Like if you said there's no patches allowed at the school, you cannot display what you think or anything like that, or what cheer or anything like that. I think it's one-sided, because you allow some patches but not other patches.
Kids have patches other names and the American flag on it.
Alright, so the kid claims that other kids are walking around the school with patches on their back. Even the American flag, patches of their names, whatever it may be. Once again, either it's all okay or none of it's okay. If kids can walk around with patches of their name Susie on their backpack, kids should be allowed to walk around with "Don't Tread on Me" patches. I would genuinely also understand if the school was like, hey, you can't have the Al-Qaeda flag on your backpack, or like the Nazi flag on your back. That would make sense. These groups cause legitimate terror and harm and are like actually killing people in the real world and have been doing so for quite some time. People flying the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, for the vast majority of them, are just simple Americans living their everyday lives who want more personal freedom and liberty and want less government. That does not make them bad people. That does not make them fucking terrorists. That does not make them dangers to society. Now, of course, this video, right, this whole situation, I took to Twitter, I talked about it, right, defending the kid. Immediately, people on Twitter start jumping to just random defenses of the school district, and I want to go through and systematically break those down real quick, just so we leave everything off the fucking table here. So, the reasoning that people gave me as to why, oh, this patch can't be allowed on his backpack. How could we ever allow something like that? Apparently, a couple of alt-right groups have now adopted the Gadsden flag and are flying it. Now, these far-right groups include people who stormed the Capitol building during January 6th, and, what else? Here, I'm trying to think. I can't really think of much else. They kind of just broke some buildings at the Capitol building, tried to overturn the election, and a few other things, which, you know, I didn't agree with, right, when that whole thing happened. I don't agree with the January 6th situation. I thought it was fucking ridiculous. I thought it was a complete overstep, but that is my right as an American to believe that, and I know a lot of people don't believe the same, and, you know, I wouldn't fucking say that they don't deserve to have the right to say it, but anyway, I digress. A couple of bad people apparently now use the Gadsden flag, so as that stands, apparently now this whole flag is a symbol of those people. What those people think, the ridiculous shit that they do, this flag now represents all of them. Now keep in mind, these people would never, ever, ever. I just want to wonder here real quick for you if that same logic gets applied for everybody, right? So if a couple of bad guys use, you know, the alt-right excuse for flying the Gadsden flag, that now means the Gadsden flag is a symbol of alt-right nationalism, and it's a bad thing, right? But if a trans shooter in Nashville is super into the pride flag and into LGBTQ plus movements, and they kill a whole bunch of people in Nashville, you can't blame them for that. You know, that's not the same thing, man. They were just one bad apple in the whole group. Or for instance, you know, if a fucking member of ISIS kills more Americans in a nightclub shooting than at that point in history anywhere else before, you can't blame all Muslims for the actions of a couple people. You know, these people were fucking terrorists. How could you blame everybody? You can't, you know, blame everyone who reads the Quran for these people. And to clarify, I agree. You know, you can't blame all Muslims for a shooting carried out by ISIS, and you can't blame all LGBTQ plus folks for a shooting that a trans individual carried out in Nashville. But just as much as you can't blame the one bad apple in that whole fucking group of people, you can't blame the couple of alt-right idiots who are fucking taking it too far with the Gadsden flag and say that anybody who wants to use a common symbol of American history that's existed for centuries is now some sort of domestic terrorist. But of course, that's the way people think, you know? It's okay if they do it. If their side has the fucking whack-a-moles who are out here killing people and doing crazy shit, you can't use them to represent their group, you know? That's just a one-off. That person doesn't represent everybody. But if a 12-year-old child has a "Don't Tread on Me" flag on his backpack in school, and nah, we can't have that because, oh, it has something to do with slavery, man. It comes back to slavery. Oh, wait, it doesn't actually come really back to slavery, and it comes back to American principles and ideals against the British when we were colonies? Oh, well, alt-right people are using it, man. The alt-right is hijacking that symbol. That's what people were constantly saying. The symbols can be hijacked. Look at the swastika, man. It was a peace symbol before, and then the Nazis took it. Yeah, they also killed fucking 7 million people and started the biggest world war of all time. Is this 12-year-old kid killing or hurting anybody, you fucking idiot? Like, people have such little critical capabilities now when it comes to their thinking. They can't think. People cannot process this kind of information. I'm confident. And it's examples just like this that prove why the average American is so fucking stupid. Because the people who teach them are so cowardice, have such fucking little backbone, and are so willfully ignorant to the problems in this country that they just allow them to go on, and then they raise and they fucking condition children to fall in line. That's really why I think all this controversy around the Gadsden flag is suddenly popping up. I think, symbols of individualism and personal liberty and, not being part of the status quo, those are seen as threats now. Those are seen as outside forces now. You're not allowed to identify by yourself. You're not allowed to stand against the fucking grain of government, of society, whatever it may be. If in any way you try to stand against what people say, or you have a differing opinion, or, in this instance, you fly a fucking patch on your backpack that a couple people don't like, oh, dude, all of a sudden you might be the problem. You might be the weird one. Keep in mind that for 250 years of American history or whatever at this point, this flag has been seen as a heroic symbol to our country, but that's the way things are now. If you're patriotic, if you love the United States, you're viewed as a fucking white nationalist. If you love symbols of history of this country, you love slave owners, and you hate people of color. Like, it's gotten so fucking ridiculous where this black or white thinking has led everybody. There's no nuance to conversations anymore. There's no details or context that explain things. It's just, oh, well, it looks just like that, so it's gotta be that. It's so fucking pathetic, man. So anyway, there was a good ending in this situation, though. The kid was initially, I guess, being threatened to have to, leave class or whatever. Obviously, people completely raised a shitstorm online because people with common sense realized that this 12-year-old probably isn't part of the fucking woke patriot front or whatever these fucking middle-aged white guys are calling themselves these days. I don't know, right? But millions of people came to this kid's support online, and the school, I guess, eventually just kind of fucking buckled, and they have now allowed him to return to class. I believe he's still flying his Don't Tread on Me patch. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Every kid in that school should stand up for their individual liberties, and they should all go home and they should all get Gadsden patches for their backpacks. Just to show these fucking idiots that are running the schools just exactly what is. Because ironically, that flag represents the core heart of this issue itself. Your individual liberties are always under attack, no matter where you're at, no matter who you are in America. That is just the simple truth of living in this country. It's a great country. I love living here, but that's what government does. They try to erode your personal liberties so they have more control. And the more that the young generation gets involved and understands that and decides to fight back against that, I think the better. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, not treading on you, don't tread on me, and signing out.